Micky Yule. I feel compelled to do this. Oh, Micky, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Micky. Let me tell. I bet people have sang that so many times, have they?
You know what? If that comes on at any bar or anything, I am heading for the door. I will go to the toilet to get away from that situation, because people just want to grab you and either dance with you or rub your head or cuddle you, and I'm like,
well, people used to sing it to me, but it was, oh, Vicky, you're so fine. And I was like, oh my God. Because every time I say your name, Micky, it's like the song pops into my head. But on a serious note, you are more than, well, you are so fine, and you are Micky. And you've got an amazing life story, because you are a high-risk search staff sergeant in Afghanistan, which I figure it's really impressive to get to that level. I'm not like forces lingo savvy, but from what I've stalked out about you, it's pretty impressive. And then in 2010, obviously you stood on the IED strike and lost both your legs, among loads of other stuff. I mean, it wasn't, I've listened to your whole journey. I've listened to what you went through. It's really interesting, actually. And then after 46 operations, you started powerlifting and you became the Viking. The Viking. Have you got like a sign for the Viking?
No. I got called that once by the commentator and it seemed to stick, and I'm like, no. I don't know if I like it.
Well, again, I went to this event years ago and you had to think of your power name, and mine was Vicky the Viking.
Sounds better than Micky the Viking.
I don't know, it does actually. I might take that. So after becoming a power lifter, you became an Olympian. You won gold at the European Championships, gold in the Invictus Games. You got picked for the Olympics this year. How are you coping with the fact that lockdown has stopped the Olympics?
The Olympics and the Paralympics.
A Paralympic.
It's all right. So it's a common mistake.
I put you into the whole thing. I put the whole thing because I'm so sorry. But yes.
A lot of people do. But we're our own little entity. Always on the back of it.
Really?
On the back of it, because the Olympics, it's the big brother to us. It's where all the sponsors are, where all the money is. Go.
Do you not think I feel like, for me as a spectator, I feel like that's changed a lot as a spectator from looking in.
Yeah, and that changed on the back of London. Obviously, I wasn't injured pre-London, so Beijing, Sydney, all these other, Athens, Olympics and Paralympics. But I tell my friends who are in the Paralympic team now, I would watch every sport. If there's anything on TV, I watch it. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't watching the Paralympics in 2008. I wasn't watching the Paralympics in 2004 because it wasn't mainstream. There wasn't enough advertisement. There wasn't enough publicity around it. So I never knew any of these guys. I only knew of Paralympians in the Paralympic sports after I was injured. And then luckily, I was there to ride that wave of London. When London pushed Paralympians to the front of TV, Channel 4 done an amazing job by putting well-known or future well-known stars in front of the public and go, these are athletes. They train just as hard, probably train harder once you think of all the adaptations to daily life and just how much of a pain a disability can be. And they put it to the front. And luckily I was there to witness that. And I went to a lot of events, and actually watching London Paralympics, I made a promise to myself, and I said, the next time there's a Paralympics, I'm going to be at the opening ceremony. I'm going to be competing. It's just how I work out how I'm going to do it, because I knew I was strong. So, yeah, Paralympics are on the back of the Olympics. We're always at the same venue. It's always the same host city. So it's still Tokyo. And really, I only think the thing they do, I think they just adapt the place, because we live in the same athletes' village. Maybe they just put a few ramps and tweak it a bit. But I was in Rio and I was a spectator at London, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you're a young Paralympian or a young disabled person thinking about getting into sport, the future is there for you. And the future started, and it started basically from London onwards. And the recognition is there now, and the funding's there, and the support's there. You just need to choose your sport. If you're a young disabled person, commit to that sport, get a good social network, family and friends, and then go for it, and you'll be able to achieve everything.
How are you feeling that it's been put on hold?
Do you know what? We sort of seen it coming as a sport. Once January, February came and the news was coming, there was no way that it wasn't going to get to us eventually. It's just no one anticipated how bad. We actually broke up. I train at Loughborough University full time, and we broke up before the lockdown. Our coach just told us to go home. There's a lot of foreign students and actually a lot of Asian and Chinese students at Loughborough, and we were one of the first cases in Loughborough of coronavirus. So the minute that came, we got sent home, and I've not been back. I've sat here at home watching the news, the same as everyone. If you can watch the news, if you can.
I must admit, I never used to watch the news because it's not necessarily good for the mind, but it's that at the moment I'm watching the news to give some kind of certainty so that you know where you're going, because it's very hard to plan if you're like me. I'm quite a goals driven. I like to know where I'm going. And I think that's the thing at the moment is we don't really know where we're going. So I'm watching it to see what's going on, because I would normally fly around and travel everywhere. And now I'm just like, I'm not doing it until it's safe. So,
yeah. And that's the best idea. I stopped watching the news halfway through it because I was watching one channel and it was telling you one thing, and another channel was telling, and you know what? I felt like it was maybe adding to the, not anxiety, but just the confusion would be a better word, on where we were going. Not only as I wasn't even thinking about sport there. I was wondering how my children were going to go back to school, when I was going to get back up to.
That was the main thing, right?
Homeschooling. Has anybody ever been under more pressure than homeschooling? This is the last day. We spoke about it briefly before. My 13-year-old finished today. It's a very, very good day in the Yule household, because that's a load of pressure. It's a load of pressure for the kids as well, really. But just trying to keep the kids on track. And, I don't think teachers have been.
Did you feel like writing your name all down his T-shirt? You used to do that when you left school, when you finished. You're like, write your name all over your T-shirts. You're not going to need them again.
I know what I wanted to do to him sometimes. I'll leave that for another day. But it was tough though. But I was watching the news and I knew that they would have to make a decision. The Olympics and Paralympics seemed to just drag their heels. Every other sporting event got cancelled. The Premier League got cancelled. Everything got cancelled. But this is only every 4 years. There's 38 Premiership football games a year, every year. This is every 4 years. Now, my event, I have 3 lifts and probably takes 2 seconds a lift. So my whole 4-year training's for a 6-second change your life period. So I knew they were going to wait longer. But I just think that added to the pressure, anxiety, because there was no way they were going to cancel everything and still hold that event, because that event is actually, there's going to be more chance of it spreading because it's worldwide, it's global. It's not just England coming into England or maybe even a few English people going to Scotland. It's a global event and everybody comes from everywhere. And we can't say, oh, we're clear of coronavirus in the East and Central Europe, but America's got it. The whole world has to be clear on it. And I still don't know how it'll pan out next year, because they won't delay it again. There's no delay now. It can only be cancelled. And if you look at places like Australia, just started a second wave. 2 major cities have just been closed down. America is in turmoil with the amount of cases it's got. Leicester just got shut down, spiking again. So I don't think we're any means over this.
No, not until we find some kind of vaccination or something like that. I think this is the new reality. I mean, with your training, you just keep training the same way you were training. Hold on, how do I say this? So you were training hard for the Paralympics. Are you going to be training, just carrying on that same training method until it comes around, or do you have a break and then start again?
I had to really pull back because my training is so intense. I work really closely, both pre and post training with my physio.
Yeah.
I work one-to-one with my coach. There's no physio, there's no one-to-one contact. There won't be for a few more weeks now. And my coach lives in Scotland, and Scotland are 2 weeks behind England on all the lockdown. And also the university's still closed. So I've just been ticking over really. Working at about 75%, trying to stay motivated, trying to stay just correct mindset. I don't want anybody to catch me out, to get a step on me, any of my competitions. So just training in my garage, it's been a real test to go from an athlete who has so much support in this professional environment to go, well, you've got to go home and you've got to train yourself and you've got to go into that lone wolf zone because no one's going, there's no backslappers now. And actually it was really refreshing because I know what I can do myself. I just twisted it from learning to walk. I flipped it on its side from having to go through the pain and the pressure and just the drive of learning to walk after losing my legs to go, I'm now on my own in the gym.
Yeah.
If I don't train, no one knows.
Right.
If I don't train hard, no one knows. If I don't stick to the program that I'm getting sent to me weekly by my coach, no one knows. And actually, it's the pressure from my coach and my performance director. And actually, the pressure is me just as a man to go, I don't need anybody. I said I'm going to do it, so do it. And no one needs to question that. Because if I say it, like anything in life, if you say you're going to do something, then you should do it. And if you can only answer to yourself in the mirror and you still do it, you feel better. You say, I said I was going to do it and I'd done it. Yeah. And we move on to the next day. So it's been tough though. It's hard to keep them motivated, and with the kids that here at home, the homeschooling, it just enclosed the first sort of 8 weeks. Couldn't do nothing. 1 hour walk a day, I think.
Love that homeschooling.
Well, it's just getting through everything, and you're very pampered life. I must say that when you're a fully funded professional athlete, we want for nothing really. We've just got to train hard. We've got all the physio, all the sports psychology. I live in what's called the Elite Athlete Centre. Is a hotel in Loughborough University, which delivers just top range, world level, top end sort of a service to an athlete, where your food is catered for you. They've even got acclimatization rooms. They set the room up that you will sleep the best you can sleep. There's recovery pods. There's everything. And then you come down and get back to ground zero, where you try and train in between your 13-year-old's English lesson, your 4-year-old wanting to ruin your carpet with Play-Doh, and you try and sneak away and do an arm session.
In the garage?
By the garage. But you got to get it done.
Yeah.
You got to get it, and you got to say to them, Dad's got to train. We're going to train. Everybody, don't set fire to the house. I'm going to be in the garage for 45 minutes.
Draw on the walls, do whatever you like. That's it. I'm in the garage. So I've spoken about you for years. I don't know if you knew this, but whenever I went to events, I always talked about your mindset and how you chose to think differently. Like, you really showed the world your survival wasn't in vain. So, thank you for that. because you've given me material for years, and I think you're such an amazing, shining example. At what point after the accident were you inspired to create that mindset that you wanted to become a powerlifter?
Well, maybe not a powerlifter. Definitely inspired to change my mindset.
Okay, cool.
The powerlifting, I've just naturally been strong. I've always been a little strong lump. But when I got injured, and unfortunately during that time, 2010 in Afghanistan, 2009 to 2011 were the worst cases for serious injuries, amputations, gunshot wounds, and deaths. Mm-hmm. It was a really bad time, and I knew friends who had died previously. I knew people who had been blown up, and I was fully expecting it to be a rough tour. It was a summer tour. I got injured in July. Yeah. The summer tour was always really, it was a tasty tour. It's freezing in Afghanistan in the winter, and not everybody wants to come out when it's freezing, but there's just a lot more what we would call kinetic activity. So once I got injured, which is obviously a terrible event, probably more mentally than physically. Yeah. I spent a lot of time in hospital, but I was in my own room. My injuries were on such a severe level that I wasn't in with the other lads. And these are other lads who were still double amputees and gunshot wounds and terrible injuries, but my injuries were at a severity that I had to be in my own room. I had a lot of open wounds, which were infection risk and things like that. So I missed, this is a crazy thing, I missed being with the lads even in hospital. I went from intensive care into my own pod, and I didn't have the contact and communication to maybe make sure that things were going to be all right, if I could help lads get through it when they came up from intensive care, or I don't know, that other families and friends who said, oh, my son is 4 weeks ahead of you, and I just missed that contact. And I felt that I really needed to get down to Headley Court, and now that was the rehabilitation centre for all injured servicemen. Yeah. And they really do, they were creating miracles down there. I was a double above knee amputee. I had a multiple fractured pelvis, 2 broken arms, and I think collapsed lungs. But that I was a nothing injury. I was a bog standard injury to them, and I needed to get down there because that's where all the lads were getting better. That's where lives were changing. So my real motivation happened when I got down there, because I was put in a 4-man room. I could speak to the lads. We could have that squaddy banter. Mm-hmm. In the worst situation. Yeah. I was in a room with 2 other double amputees, a guy who had had half his face blown off, and the other lad had a spinal injury. And everybody was dealing with their own stuff, but we were still taking the mick at each other. Yeah. We were still encouraging each other. Yeah. And we were still having that bond that we needed. And really from the first couple of weeks at Headley Court, I found my motivation. I seen guys who I would think were really bad, triple amputees, and they were walking. And not only were they walking, they were leaving the barracks to go to the pub. They were going on dates. They were going to pick up their new cars. They were staying out so late they were missing the curfew because they were down the pub. And I thought, do you know what? We've still got a life here. Yeah. The life's there to be led. Yeah. Now, there was lads struggling. There was a lot of people who maybe weren't on that. But the guys I seen were the guys that would not quit. They might agree to have hard days. They might cry. They might whinge to people. They might have 4 days of rubbish. Not one good thing had happened. But the 5th day would be the day that made all the difference. And these guys motivated me. It was the go-getters. It was the ones that said, Micky, you'll walk in 3 months, and then we'll get to the pub. It'll be, Micky, whenever you're walking, we'll go and see how we're going to adapt your car, and I'll show you how you drive it with your hand. And I actually steered a little bit away for the lads who were, I'm never going to walk. My girlfriend says I'm never going to walk again. My best mate says that I should just stay in a wheelchair. Now, these guys need help.
Yes.
Because they need to change that.
Yes.
But when you're already low, as I was, you've got to be surrounded by positivity.
Yeah.
It has to drag you up. I wasn't going to walk if I was pulling an anchor behind me. It was going to be tough enough anyway. So initially, and until I got moving, until I got my mojo back, positive people, the go-getters, the ones that were going to drive me forward, the ones I wanted to be, find them, stick to them like glue, and then go forward. And actually, do you know, once you've got so much forward, then we can go back and check on the other ones. And hopefully they've followed you. Hopefully they've seen me and they're coming. And actually a lot of them did do. But at the start, my motivation came from seeing people with horrendous injuries and they were living life. And that's when I thought my life might not be what I wanted. And I got that knocked out of me within about 2 weeks.
Did you? Was there much help for you mentally afterwards? I mean, is there much help for the soldiers that haven't coped very well? Is there much to help you cope with your mindset afterwards? I mean, you know, I believe that you become the people that you hang around with. So always surround yourself with people that, like what you did, that are going to inspire you and take you higher. But for the people that were struggling, is there any help for anybody afterwards?
Well, I noticed that everybody was struggling.
Yeah.
And even the guys who I now identify as the go-getters and the ones that were motivating me, they were still struggling every night. I could still hear some of them cry at night.
Oh.
But this is in 2010. I never had one session about my mental health or psychological problems I was having. I can't remember one.
Wow.
It's now very fashionable. This was in 2010.
Right.
I thought the first thing that they would have done would have got me in, but just no advice, even basic advice to go, do you know, if you think you're doing okay now, what you've seen will not go away. It's in here somewhere. It might just be at the back of the queue at the moment, but it's still manifesting and it's still going to come forward, and we're going to give you the tools to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. I got zero. And not just me. I always think that people used to look at me and go, Micky's big and Micky's loud and he's motivated. That means he doesn't need help. I mean, these days we know that's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes they're the people who need the most help. The ones who are quiet, the ones who are in the corner, we don't want to mix, who actually their character has changed. They're the ones that we should be keeping an eye on more, the ones that are shouting from the rooftops, I've got PTSD, everybody look at me.
Yeah.
These guys were driving me mad at that point. They were driving me mad because we were all dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
And even then I was thinking, he's really quiet. Who's helping him? Now it's all over the news. It's like you can't walk anywhere now without someone offering PTSD help or mental health, and actually a lot of people tag it on to the end of their names, and I think it's a little thing. Sometimes I can question if it's just a little one pager in a CV and how much they actually are helping people. But there's a lot more help, and I'm still trying to help my friends, and we get through it together. But back then it was down to, I'd say the physios were a great help because they had seen everything. They had seen the last 3 years of continual double amputees coming in, continual gunshot, and actually you would go, oh, I'm struggling with this, and they would sit you down and they would you get through it. But not a lot of help at the start.
So there's more for people now to help them, and I'm just wondering whether, you know, what you do is so incredible, because obviously, you've gone through the same journey they have, so they can look to you and see you as an inspiration, which is really cool. It just breaks my heart when I know people are struggling and there's no mental help out there, because I know physically it's hard for you. Well, I could, you know, I don't know because I haven't gone through what you've gone through, but I can imagine physically it's super hard how you look physically, but the mental side of it, because that's what I'm really focused on. And I just hope that there is more help out there, because obviously you've said, and I'm pleased that there's more for them now. I mean, is that your mission, to really help people that have gone through your journey, or are you more focused by actually showing the world your achievement? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think you can do both.
Yeah, true.
I sometimes get contacted quite a lot over social media with people, not just amputees, and thankfully there's no one getting blown up over in Afghanistan at the moment. Touch wood, it continues like that. But what I realised is getting blown up in Afghanistan or getting shot in Afghanistan is no different to cancers, illnesses, debt, alcoholism, drug addiction, whatever, sexual abuses. What mentally affected me in Afghanistan about getting blown up actually can sometimes be on a lower level to someone hurting their back and losing their job and getting into debt and having a marriage breakdown, etc. You should never try and put a level on where you think someone's depression or where their stress is coming. Do you know what I mean? Because what stresses you out might not stress me out.
Yeah.
What keeps you awake at night might not keep me awake at night. We can't try and say, well, Vicky should toughen up, because hopefully we're past all that. Or Micky's good at this, but actually he's not good at this. We just need to say, either way, that's affecting them, and how can we help? And if using my circumstances of being blown up, losing my job, losing my house, losing my friends, complete starting from ground zero with not a lot of hope, then you can get there. You can get there. And sometimes you have to drag yourself on your face a couple of inches every day, but you'll get there eventually. And there's very few people who go through a really traumatic event, whatever it is, and bounce back immediately without either breaking down again or having some sort of incident where there's a setback. Actually, if the event is big enough, there is no way you can jump straight back from it. You will fall down again. It's just if you've got the sort of metal inside you to go, I fell down, but I'll get back up. And actually, someone can drag you up. And if that's a family member or a friend, then so be it. You just need a little hand sometimes, and you'll get back.
Oh, that's nice. What was it like looking at yourself in the mirror, like after your surgery? Because I have women I work on, obviously they have their breasts removed and then they're fighting the fear of cancer. Do you have like any advice on coping with the fact of after having extreme surgery and just looking at yourself physically different? I mean, how did you cope with that?
Well, I don't think I have coped with it. I still don't. I think this is where my journey doesn't finish, and I don't actually know if it ever will. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, Micky, I can't believe how far you've got and you've conquered all this," but I've not conquered everything. I get stared at every day of my life. The minute I walk out that door, I could be in a room with 200 people, and the minute I walk in, you will look at me, because I've got prosthetic legs and I wear shorts, and it's just weird to a lot of people. And I get that. I certainly don't think that you should look at it as a double amputee walking down the road and just brush it off as go, oh, that's just a normal thing.
Yeah.
But no one needs to stare, and no one needs to stare twice or three times. I've had people walking to lampposts looking at me because they're just constantly doing it. I've had people stop and point and laugh.
Really?
Yeah. I've had people, when I've been shopping, and I've went up one aisle, and then I'll see them turn back on the aisle and stick their head round to have another look. And then the time I get up the other end, they must have ran up quickly so they can get another look. I don't mind it with kids. Kids want to see different. They want to know how it works, and actually get them over and let them feel them and see it. But you know, if you're an adult and you're staring at someone and you're having a little joke about what's happened, or you think that that's weird and you want to run around and have another look, well, you shouldn't, because you wouldn't like it to yourself.
No.
It's a bit tough.
It's strange how everybody responds differently, because if I saw you, me personally, I think, oh my God, how like strong, because you're very strong at the top. And I would just think that you've shown the world how to be a strong person after something's obviously happened to you, even if I didn't know your story. And yet it's funny how people would just run and stare, like the fascination, like they've never seen it before. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think maybe that's just how people are.
Yeah.
I don't care if you stare once, because I just put it back to me, I relate it back to me. Before, now I was a soldier, so I would probably click straight away that that was a soldier being injured. And actually I do see a lot of people will put two and two together.
Yeah.
But I would look, because I'd think, that's weird, these are metal legs and that guy's walking around town in them or whatever. But I certainly wouldn't look 2, 3 or 4 times and actually make excuses to double back on yourself just to have another look. And you know what I do with that? I'm a big old lump. I stare right back at them and I make them feel uncomfortable. Excellent. And if they point at me, I point back at them. And it gets a bit to this game where they sort of put their head down and walk away. But that still happens. And a lot of my friends can deal with that. That's why I say my journey's still not complete.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I should get used to that.
No.
Maybe this is when we talk about you can never tell what affects someone.
Yeah.
That might annoy me if you're a fully grown man and you decide to have 2 or 3 looks at me and you don't even come and ask maybe how I got injured. I feel like you're doing it to either be nosy or actually you're doing it to be a bit of an idiot, and do you know what I mean? You're making me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But,
Do you believe that once you know someone, and like once somebody knows you, you don't, I believe this, you don't actually see the outside anymore. I think it's the heart that really shines through. So ultimately, if somebody, I know it's easy for me to say this, but if somebody's judging you and you don't know them, could you not just, or is it just harder than that?
No, I think you can. I think that can be done. I think there's been situations where maybe if you went into a restaurant or you went out at night with your wife, husband or girlfriend, whatever, and you know, sometimes you just want to be left alone. Sometimes you want to go out and not be the person everybody's staring at.
Yeah.
In that situation, when they're still staring, it can be slightly annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I could hide it and wear long trousers, but actually most double amputees wear shorts because we always have to fidget around with them. People think that you put them on in the morning and they fit beautifully, but they don't. They hurt. They need moved. Sometimes you got to take them off.
Right.
Sometimes they actually can just about fall off when you're walking, which is just incredible. But you know, I've had many times where I've stopped and went, my leg's going to fall off, and I've had to. I constantly carry tools with me. I've got lots of Allen keys, and I just have to change them on the spot. But I don't know. It's maybe just me on my journey, but sometimes you just want a day that no one's going to look at you.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, but I can understand. Obviously, I'm trying to be diplomatic because it's easy for me to say being this side of the fence. But yeah, I could understand that you just want to just go out and nobody look at you and just be just the normal.
Even for a day, maybe one day a year, if you could just. And it's not like take the disability away, because my disability. It's like a funny word, disability. So how do you put that into a box? Because I don't really class myself. I don't feel disabled. I feel I can do what I want. I have to adapt everything. I have to think it through, because you have to just, double amputees, we just sort of have to bumble our way through stuff. Like if you go somewhere and you get there and there's big old steps and there's no handrail, or there's shingle down to a beach, down a steep, you just have to work everything out. And actually, sometimes you get, even if you can't work it out, we're so experienced now, we'll bumble through it and we'll get through it some way, and we'll adapt and we'll just make it work. But so I definitely, I'm not bothered about changing my disability. It would just be nice to go in for a pub and not be the centre of attention.
Or figure out the route there, or figure out how, you know. Do you feel different when you're in the car then? Does that make sense? Like when you're in the car and you're driving, do you feel different in the car? Because
I think I end up getting beeped a lot in the car. Because I've got a hand-driven car, and sometimes, so I've passed my test at 17 and got injured at 31, and I'm now 41, so I've spent longer driving with legs, and sometimes on a long journey I'll just get to the lights and switch off, and then they change and I still try and move my feet.
Oh no.
And then it's like beep, and I'm like, driving with my hands, mate, can you just shut up? I'm like, yeah, nice one. And I get back in it, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I switch off for that second and I try and drive normally.
That's the pressure in cars. Cars are funny. We turn into different beasts in a car.
I know. But I'm not so worried about hiding anything. It's just, I suppose the question is what it's like to look at yourself. Like I am covered in scars, but it's not such a big deal to me, how my appearance or how I look to myself. I think, as I spoke about, I think it's probably weirder and it's sometimes more uncomfortable for others to look at me. And it sounds strange in the year we're at in this day and age, but some people will still have a certain discomfort on a double amputee sort of being near them or walking by them. It's, I suppose, maybe a bit freaky sometimes. And I'm big and I'm bald and I've got loads of tattoos, so it probably didn't help.
No, I listened to you in an interview where you were saying, make sure you do loads and loads of squats because you think your legs took most of the blast. So your legs, as much as they're not there, they really saved you, didn't they?
Keep squatting. The doctor said that. I got blown up with an IED that was anti-vehicle IED. So it was supposed to blow up a vehicle.
Wow.
I used to do loads of powerlifting. I used to squat all the time, and I had big, fat, chunky legs. And the surgeon says that my legs absorbed so much of that blast that it was unbelievable. He told me it should have cut me in half. So I always used to say, if you're ever going to Afghanistan, make sure you squat.
You made me laugh actually on one thing, because you were saying after everything that you went through, where did your trousers and your pants go? And you actually, it was nice to hear you not make light of it, but it was interesting listening to you talk. You were saying, you know, where's have all your trousers and your pants gone? It actually made me not laugh.
When you work out what's happened, and obviously it's a bad situation to be in.
Yeah.
Every man I've spoke to, your legs are gone, but you only check to make sure there's certain things still there. And once you find them, it's a bad day, but it could be worse. So you're still doing all right. But yeah, because of the blast, my pants were on fire and they were like half blown off. And I thought, there's a fair chance I'm going to die here, and I'm going to die with no pants on, with my bits and bobs hanging out. It's
honestly,
there was no glamour in it.
No,
but we done all right. We got through it, and we kept kept what we needed to keep.
So you are a high achiever obviously way before the accident, because you did so well in the forces. I mean, you were a staff sergeant, right? And that's pretty high up. Have you always been like mega driven though?
Well, I think so. I was in a parachute squadron. So from the age of 18, I volunteered to go and do P company and jump out of planes. And as an engineer, we used to blow stuff up, and just anything along those lines were going to be exciting for me. I'd actually just picked up my staff sergeant in the January. I'd just turned 31, and my career was flying. I knew where I was going. I was ahead of my peer group, and I had my whole future in the army. I was never going to sign off. And then it just takes that completely away from you. But what I noticed in sport is, if you can take some of your values and standard of the army, and there's good and bad in everything. The army's just a big business. There's good and bad here and there. If you take the good things through your experience, and I brought them into sport, and they have set the foundations for me, and it's really made what could have been quite a hard transition a lot easier. Yeah. Because I still see myself as a soldier, and I still have to meet these standards every day, and I still have to be accountable to myself. And sometimes when you're in Afghanistan, you've not got a choice to be second. Do you know what I mean? If you're second in Afghanistan, in certain situations, you can die or you can get yourself in big trouble. So I try and keep that mindset here. Yeah. When I'm training, is that there's a friend of mine, and he's got a gym specialist equipment sort of company, and his motto is winning is everything. Now, it's not that you can't be second place, and it's not that you can actually be 10th place, but if your mindset is winning is everything, that'll make you walk. It'll make me get up when I've been blown up. It'll make me try and get to the Paralympics, win Invictus Games Gold. Yeah. Have that mindset. Now, it's not saying that if you don't win, then you're a failure, but start off with the mindset that winning's everything, and there's no quit. And then let's just see how far we get along in this journey before we have to adapt it. And that's just, it's pretty basic. That's all I try and do. I don't confuse it. I don't try and surround myself with negative people. Yeah. Let's just keep pushing. I don't want to be dragged back by anybody. Yeah. I just about died. I've got no time for anybody like pulling me backwards now. Everything is moving forwards. My whole group's moving forward. Sometimes I can't keep up with my friends because they're achieving so much. Yeah. And I think, I need to kick myself up the arse here. What are we doing? Have I made enough of lockdown? Because these guys are smashing it. Let's go. Right. Now, quick, get in that garage. Kids, you're on your own. Garage. I also heard that you loved the adrenaline rush from being in the forces. Doing your searches and everything else, because the internet, hold on, that was me that time on the internet, because I was thinking about this, because there's that rush that you maybe long for all the time, but how would you have coped with not having that rush when you retired, say? Because at some point in your life you would have to stop. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, how would you have coped when you retired? Like, what would have been the plan to fulfill the rush adrenaline within you? And how do other people cope when they retire? Well, I don't think they do. I think it's the biggest problem, especially when soldiers coming out of the army from being injured. Yeah. And you might come out the army as you'd picked up a rugby injury and you had done your backing. But I feel, if you come back with a combat injury and the last memory you've got of the army, the last time I wore an army uniform, I was getting blown up in Afghanistan. I never put a uniform on again. So that's it. And it's how, even though those weeks around that event were tough and bad things happened, it was also an adrenaline rush that can't be compared, and it can't be found daily without really having to push yourself to extreme limits. And guys can get themselves in trouble. That's maybe where there's alcohol and drug abuse, and depression can set in for a lot of ex-soldiers. And it's a big problem when you start thinking about marriage breakdown. But I went into sport because I seen the London Paralympics. And one thing I say is I didn't grow up wanting to be an Olympian or a Paralympian. One, I wasn't disabled and I couldn't be a Paralympian. And two, I only wanted to be a soldier. I didn't dream about winning the 100-meter gold medal. I didn't do it. But I'm now in a disabled sport or a Paralympian team where there could be people that had born with disabilities and it's all they've dreamt of. And they went into the youth team and they went into the junior team and then they went into the Paralympics. Yeah. And I come and I see the Paralympics was an opportunity for me. It wasn't my plan. My road was there and I got blown up and it had to change. And when we talk about dealing with change, sometimes you've got to grab opportunities by the balls. They're not going to come again. It's not what your plan was, but guess what? We're here. Yeah. We're here. And let's look at lockdown. There's nothing we can do. And that's what I've done with the Paralympic sport. And I've actually said this, and I don't know how well it's went down with sort of the Paralympic media and stuff, but when they ask me how nervous I get before comps, I'm like, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Mm-hmm. I feel the nervous spider senses firing off, but I've been more nervous. Yeah. No one's going to shoot me. No one's going to die. No one's going to get blown up. So there is a level of pressure, probably an excitement, but I've never got near yet to getting that nervous pressure. Everything must go right today. Just that adrenaline rush of going on patrol in Afghanistan, leaving the compound at 6 a.m, and you've got a fair chance that before the sun comes up, you're going to be either in a firefight or you're going to be finding an IED that could probably blow up 10 men. And you better find it and you better perform.
So does the rush come when you come back, or is it the not excitement, the before you go out? Is it, do you come back and be like, oh my God, lads, we did it, or is it more the before?
I think you're nervous before. You never get a chance to fully accept and absorb the rush, because you get back, you shake yourself out. Mm-hmm. Lads just want to grab some scoff, so they're looking to see what food there is, and then guess what? The next job's coming. Right. And that's why I think when guys get back on R&R or they get back on leave and they've got that time off and they go back into the pub or into the house and they go, oh, it's quiet in here. Or might go down to the pub, see what's happening. Oh, it's quiet in the pub. And then the next day's quiet and the wife's maybe getting housework done or whoever. Do you know what I mean? And you're in an environment now of, oh, you're in the way, can I? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You sort of just become in the way of things and your mind still wants to be, might not want to be back in Afghan or be back to wherever that environment, but you can't switch that off in a week. Yeah. You're still thinking what's going on. And it was one thing I struggled with because I got blown up on that day, which was quite a really tough patrol for us, and the days around it were really tough. And then I woke up in Birmingham in a coma, and there wasn't any, I know there can't be, but I felt like I didn't have any transition. And then it was like, right, you're double amputee, right, you're going to get medical discharge, we've got to take your house off you, and probably you're not going to see the same group of friends again. And you're like, whoa.
That's harsh.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, that's all happened a bit fast, but and I think maybe even that's when we talk about mental health and PTSD manifesting itself. Something like it was 10 years on the 1st of July since I got blown up, and I never really talk about it. I never put it out on social media. I'm not looking for likes around it. Right. I just deal with it myself. Yeah. But I must admit, it's not something I look forward to. And it's not because I got blown up, it's actually everything else that happened around that period. People were dying, and in and around my patrols, there was things that I seen that I wish that I hadn't seen. And it's more about that anniversary than me getting blown up, because let's face it, a few of my good friends died. They come back in coffins, and their mums and their wives and their brothers and sisters and sons and daughters, they'll never see them again. Yeah. So let's get going and live life. So I don't feel bad about living, but I do get a certain nervousness about just, I know I'm going to think about those 2-3 weeks around that period.
Yeah. So you set yourself tasks and goals, and that's how, like, get in that garage and have focus and train and work hard, I suppose.
Sounds so sad, doesn't it?
It's okay, because you're just making miracles happen in there. So you sent me a message about being accountable, and I talk a lot, like I do talks about how the mind works and things like that. Yet I've never thought about making yourself accountable before. So I spoke about it at an event I did a few days ago, and it rang really true with a lot of my students. And actually, one of my students wanted me to ask you something. So is this cool?
Yes, cool.
She said, apart from being accountable, what other tricks for the days when you lose focus could you give her? And then also, could you give her a wink?
Wink. No, fucking wink. But,
like, because I know your message is be accountable, stick to it, do it no matter how you feel. And I was wondering, your accountables, are they small tasks, or are they big tasks, or is it just if you say you're doing it, you're doing it? But if you have the days, do you ever have the days when you don't, or you just, if you're doing it, you're doing it?
I think that's accountable. When I say I do talk about staying accountable. Just staying accountable to my head. Yeah. Staying accountable in between my ears. Now, so in my head, if I say I'm going to train that day, so my son lives in Yorkshire. If I'm driving him home and driving him back, but I've got to train, and I've said I'm going to train, I will train, no matter how crap I feel, no matter what time, I'll do it. I do not want to do it. I can't be arsed doing it. But actually, I'm looking forward to the week and go, do you know what? I need to do it here because I've got so much stuff coming. And if I don't, then we're just losing a bit of focus on where I want to go. I don't want anybody to get a step on me training. Yeah. But also, stay accountable to giving yourself rest, recovery. Stay accountable for not kicking yourself in the ass just because you want a little day off or you're feeling rubbish. We have to stay accountable to our heads. Okay. Not just me going, I'm going to go and beast mode it in the gym, and no matter what state I'm in, I'm going to train. No, when I'm accountable, I'm going to say, I'm going to be accountable this week for my mental health. Okay. And if my head says to me, because of the whole world just going on and a bit crazy, which a lot of things are out of control, then it should always be I'm accountable to my head. Physically, I will nail it, but I can't if we've not got our heads in the right place. So it means just staying accountable, firstly to yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth and going, what have I achieved today? And have I been a bit of a lazy sod today? And if you had, well, we're going to nail that tomorrow. And that's you being accountable to yourself and going, I need to kick myself up the bum because I have had my crap day. I've had my one day a week where it's just been a bit rubbish. I've not achieved what I wanted, but it ain't happening tomorrow. Yeah. So I think when we go accountable, and I do push this when I use examples of training, I will train no matter what. I will go in that gym at 12 at night, and if I need to play the music, I will just take the neighbour maybe knocking the garage door. They never do. Funny that, but if I need to, if it needs to happen. But I will also stay accountable to my mental health. I'll stay accountable to, have I spent enough time with my son? Yeah. Have I pulled him off that Xbox enough? So, because we can get drained, man. You can get drained mentally quicker than you can get drained physically.
Yeah, and then you can't make good decisions then.
You can't. Your decisions are blurred. You get yourself in a lot of knots. But just more and more, I would just try and protect what's in between your ears as best as you can. It's just like it's like an egg, and you're trying to not crack it in any way. And then if your job, for my job as a professional athlete, is to train, and on certain occasions train like a real beast, then those days come, and I can see them coming, because I have to emotionally and mentally get ready for them if I'm going to achieve what I want. So you start planning it and make sure then it happens, and there's nothing in the way of it. But certainly for your students, I would say always make sure that what's in between your ears gets looked after just as much as your body.
Oh, that's nice.
Don't know if that makes sense.
Has anyone ever given you like a real gem of insight that's been a light bulb moment that you thought, oh, I'll take that? I threw that one at you. 300.
It sounds a bit crazy, but when I was at Headley Court, I always remember there wouldn't be like any one specific person, but I always remember the physios. A lot of people seem to say, I got injured and I got told I'd never walk again. It's the first line in someone's book, isn't it? Or the first. I would be surprised if that ever happened at Headley Court.
Nice.
I never heard it. When you went in with the injuries I had, it was when you were going to walk.
Love it.
Yep. It's not if. You don't want to hear if. We are the best physios in the world. Yeah. And what they used to say to us is, as long as you don't quit. Now, don't associate quitting with this loser tag. What they're saying is, if you don't quit on me, I won't quit on you. You'll walk in 6 months. You'll walk in 9 months. If we have a setback, I will still get you walking if it takes me 2, 3, 4 years. You leave here walking. And then that takes away the doubt that you're going to walk. Now, when they say quitting, it's not to say that actually that day you're in so much pain you can't walk. Because remember, we want to protect what's in between here. Yeah. So sometimes, and they've got the experience, they would go, we're just going to back off today. No one's quitting. No one's putting that quitter tag in it. But if you give me everything, if you say you won't quit in the whole journey, the whole thing, the outcome must be to walk. If you don't quit on that, then this journey will get you there. And it'll go up and it'll down, and up and down, and you'll walk. And I just always feel, as long as I didn't give up, and it's a hard thing, as long as I didn't give up on myself, I was going to walk. Amazing. Or I was going to, and people, you could just, like, how hard is business at the moment? Yeah. Tough, man. There's one way that your business will fail, and as if you quit. If you say, we're going to go through this no matter what, but one thing I'm not going to do is quit. Yeah. I'm not going to quit. It might come out of this in a terrible situation and have to really regroup from nothing, but I am not going to quit. And the minute you make that decision, you're not going to quit, it takes like a weight off your shoulders to go, all right, I know this is going to be really tough. I know that we might be in furlough. I know the profits might be low. I might even have to like lose employees, lose staff members, whatever. But if you say, whatever happens, I am not going to quit this business, it means too much to me. Yeah. Then you won't quit. You've said it. You're accountable to yourself. So guess what? The minute you say that, you start making, adapting just different situations, how you're going to get by it. Yeah. Because you've said it. And if you need to put it up in a room, you put it up in a room. If you need to see it, you say it. I am not going to quit. Yeah. I love that. I love that. You speak and inspire people all the time, and you've just achieved so much over the 10 years. What is your big dream goal? Like, if I could wave a magic wand and make your dream become true, what would you want? I don't know. I should say a Paralympic gold medal, but...
Oh, that's going to happen.
They've got to rearrange the Paralympics first.
But it can still happen. I mean, you can still keep going, though, for years and years and years, can't you?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of pressure these days. People put a number on an age and they decide when you think you can stop being strong. The level that... Well, I'll tell you what would be a dream. Now, the Paralympics are obviously the ultimate thing. And I've qualified for Rio, and I'm going to qualify again for Tokyo.
Yeah.
But the Commonwealth Games are in Birmingham in 2022. I've came 4th at the last 2 Commonwealth Games. I came 4th in Glasgow in front of my whole family, and I came 4th in the Gold Coast. Both of those Commonwealth Games, I was sitting in the medals on my last lift, and I missed out. And it has drove me mad. I spent 4 years after Glasgow saying I will not let this happen again. And then the strange thing, I broke my leg on the 23rd of December. The Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast were in April. I snapped my femur, biggest bone in your body. And I went to that competition with just like a semi-broken leg, basically. The leg hadn't healed. So I had said to myself, no, Em, you have to stay accountable for our heads. My whole 4 years was, I medal no matter what. And I'm not going to give myself one excuse, because I've had enough of excuses and it's time to draw a line in the sand. And then I went out to lift, and me and my coach were really worried if my leg was going to snap on the day. Once I took because we hadn't put the big weight on. Because once we put the big weight on, we knew it was going to really put that pressure on the leg. And I thought...
because it's strapped down?
Yeah, the strap was right over the brake. And I thought, do you know when you promise yourself there's no excuses? And I'm sitting there going, I don't want to be a YouTube sensation. I don't want my leg to fold in half.
Yeah.
And I'm pushing this weight, praying my leg won't break. And then getting the lifts and then thinking, thank God my leg didn't break. What a journey this has been. And then there's one Indian athlete still to lift who can steal it. Not steal it, earn it. And I'm sitting there and the BBC TV's right in my face. And then the guy lifts it back to 4th place. And I've been through so much emotions with these Commonwealth Games that I just feel that my goal is to go there and medal big in Birmingham, get it done. It'll probably be my last major competition, but I've got so much emotional journey around the Commonwealth Games compared to the Paralympics. Qualified for the Paralympics, went, competed well, it was all great. It's pretty just how it went. The Commonwealth Games, like getting 4th in front of all your family and friends in Glasgow, then breaking your leg, it just seems that competition is cursed. It's cursed for me. Now I need to break that curse and finish on a high. So that would be a gold medal in Birmingham would be a massive dream for me.
Yeah, nice. I'll look forward to seeing that.
Come and see it.
I'll be like, I spoke to him.
Spoke to him.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Micky. This will help so many people, and I'm so pleased we had this time together. Super good luck for the future. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, thanks so much for speaking to me. I've had a great time. I hope I've not waffled on too much.
No,
it's been great.
It's been beautiful, and I'm going to be super buzzing when I see you hold that gold medal.
Good. I'll point to you in the crowd. Tell you I promised you. My girlfriend I might get in trouble if I do that.
It's okay. I'm miles away. I'll be like, that one was for me. Like, no, that one was for me. But thank you so much. I truly, or wrong, I have to do that side. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.